Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. This is an interesting panel. It's a panel for which will be speaking about the tech landscape in Albania, but not only. And we have some. Okay, I really apologize because I had even the other. I was in delay in the other screen, so I had to shut it down. Okay, and so we have a very, very interesting panel that will be speaking about it. We can start from Mr. Ardian Sheu, who is the country manager of Printech. This is a very well-known company, international company, and then well-known in Albania. And he's a personality in the tech world. We have Mr. Gerti Bosniaku, who is
Just a correction. My name is Adrian.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we can. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I never used it in a long form, so always
on a nickname.
Yeah. Yes, and we have Mr. Gerdi Bosniaku, who is the platform leader of Albania Tech, but also he is one of the top leaders in the country with media in the technology business. And we have Mr. Aryan. Aryan, where are you? Because I'm going to introduce Esmeralda, like the last one, the sweet and the dessert remains for the last one. Aryan is here. He is a leader, or he is the head of Officina. But at the same time, he is the president of WBSA, Western Balkan Startup Alliance. And he is also very active in the tech startup innovation ecosystem in Albania. And then we have the Miss, how can we say, Miss Esmeralda Biberi, who is the executive director of Protic, that is an innovation center in Albania. But also she is the project manager of a very cool and interesting project, which is the digital nomads in Albania. And so it is a diversity of panelists. And I think that even the topics that we'll be discussing are diverse as the industry itself. I can even introduce myself. My name is Dritan Mezzini. I go by Tani. In Albania, we use very often the short forms of our names. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder and run and manage one of the largest online job portals in the country, which is duapun.com. It's like, I want a job, something like this. At the same time, I'm head of ICT Association, but also the president of 3BICT, which is the Balkan, Black Sea, and Baltic ICT Clusters Network. We are very active, not only at national level, but even regional and international level regarding the tech issues. So welcome everybody, and thank you very much for the organizers who made this possible. This activity, even though that is the first one, we hope to see it, we hope and we believe that we see it going like year after year, because not only that it's addressing one hot issue like technology and tech, but even, the hottest issue, which is related to the human capital. Now, the format of the panels today is a preparation of a few questions, for the panelists, but the participants are ready to throw their questions anytime. I think that their questions are more important than the questions that will run for the panelists. Albania, regarding the technology, years ago used to be, I would say that in the last ranking, even at the regional level, but last ranking, but in a very last, that means it was not really that well developed. and there were like lack of real companies, real solutions, real businesses, and technology mostly was a foreign word even for the people here, and but things started changing, and we still changing. Lots of investments, lots of support, and especially some big government investment in this process that helped to push it further. On the other hand, even this global trend that is the providing outsourcing services to the world made it possible that step by step the tech entrepreneurs in Albania to pick up the pace and started growing with much faster and accelerated pace than the others, even in the region. And furthermore, even though that we are still not ranking in the highest in the region compared to other countries, I think that we are approaching fairly, either in terms of technology or support for technology and education, and many other elements that the panel will be speaking about today. So now, the first question that goes to the panel is, what could you provide to me an overview of the current tech landscape in Albania by highlighting some of the key trends and development in recent years? I think whoever feels like taking the floor is welcome. I'm not really pointing out the persons,
But you are the moderator. You have to tell us.
Yes. I mean, yeah, Gertie, take the floor. Yes.
I know. I'm used to be the moderator. That's why I told you. Hey, thanks. As a beginning, just let me thank you for the invitation in this panel. It's really good to treat such a topic like technology and trends and developments in this virtual job tech fair, which, as I understood, is a regional one, and it's good to represent, let's say, what is going on in our country, in Albania, regarding the technology and its latest developments. I represent, let's say, here a company or a platform now, but we have been working as a company since 15 years, let's say, in tech, and our company has evolved due to the technology development in the latest 15 years. Because I wanted to start like this, because in these years, there's been major changes in the scene. If I can say, let's say 15 years ago, that we were not a proper tech company, because you were referring to tech companies, to the companies mainly working on IT development, infrastructure, hardware, and less on software or, let's say, digital solutions. But the market also was, let's say, focused on that type of niche. For example, companies were calling technology when they got the latest hardware, or the technology was referred to the IT guys, which now it's a shame if you say technology only IT guys, because IT is not involving all of them. It's now we have software developers, we have mobile applications, we have, let's say, new notions like CRMs, ERPs that have evolved in the last decade. But earlier, as I mentioned, the scene was involved only on mainly in IT infrastructure and IT service like hardware. But something that changed the scene, I would guess it was like the evolvement of social media, the waves from 2010 and up, with the rise of Facebook, Twitter, and this type of social media, where the whole media landscape and the adaptation, or let's say the compatibility between sectors like media and technology, like other sectors and technology, were trying to get more into it. Let's say marketing and technology, everything was discussed and was meant in technology. So this changed the scene, and it started, let's say, more software development, more e-commerce, let's say, job positions, and then it was, let's say, the mobile took place positions. So we started to see more mobile application developers. We started to see more people involved in different solutions using different technology languages like Flutter, like React Native. So as I was mentioning, all these changes has been reflected in the Albanian scene, because this has been major changes in the global tech scene. But meanwhile, I have to touch if the companies were growing steadily, embracing steadily these changes and putting them into their day-to-day operation, trying to engage staff to fill this market needs. A major changer, a game changer, was the pandemics, because it really quickened up the game, let's say. If this evolvement were, let's say, they were reflected slowly during the pandemics, and after it, things started to get like a new gear, because it was like the technology took place all over the world, and in Albania as well, we saw new companies opening up, new companies searching for talent, and if they were working, they were companies who were working, let's say, for different clients in the country, for local clients. During the pandemics, the Albanian companies started to compete in regional or global level. So they wanted to compete to get new talent and to compete for new skills in a, let's say, in a different market now, in a more broad market. So this is, let's say, just a resume that I had from my side. I don't want to take time from the others, but let's say this is like what happened in these years, and this was the major changes that we have been witnessing these years.
Gerti, thank you. And I think that what you just said, it makes lots of sense. We all remember those years when selling only hardware was, I'm not saying it was a big deal, but everybody was considering it like as a big IT investment. And at that time, we're not even speaking about consulting services. We're not speaking about like very many software products made at home. You know, it was more like internet, more and 80. I remember those numbers in 2008, 2009, like 85% of the industry revenue was coming from hardware or system integrator, very little in software, and very little in other additional services. You know, but it seems like those years are gone. And now we are really walking fast in a normal pace. So Adi, you have been also in this industry for many years, and could you please share a little bit the experience from the time when you first started it, and what is changed since that time and now? And I think that even the structure of your business has changed. You started with like ATM, and now you are also into like the software distribution and the software services, and so on and so on. Please, you know, floor is yours. Make it unmute.
Okay. So thank you very much for giving me the stage. I'm not going to add more than Gerti has shared with us. We have seen very tremendous changes in a very short period. And I remember when you start mentioning some figures, it reminds me when I met you in the central bank, and you was carried in a hardware of the PC, and yes. And the PC, it was so, well, that's the new generation. When I'm talking about, that's the even doesn't have any perception about it. They say that's what it was, that. And I said, this is the history. And now that's...
I think at that time it was PS2. something
Yes.
like IBM,
Yes,
kind of.
exactly. But
Okay.
the size it was too big. Now the size is like
Yes.
our mobile. That's we have a mobile phone that we have on our pocket. We started as a company. We started, as you mentioned, with the ATMs, and at this time it was a huge demand on the hardware because everybody was looking for that. But that it was the trend of the time. But we understood very well that the times start changing, and we started with the software, and now we see in a very short period everything was changed from the box movie to the software solution. So beside the fact that we still deliver the hardware, but it's how to say that those hardware has more software solution to deliver. Otherwise, they cannot be anymore or to be in line with the market needs and the market trends. So that's why we started with software solution, and we feel proud that we have delivered now, transforming through our solution, transforming in the bank operation from the simple operation to branch transformation, and that is done through the software. So if before we had it 3 or 4 tellers, now you need to have only one device in which might do all the functionality that 3 or 4 tellers might do that. So the time for doing the transaction is amazing. So you finish everything within a minute. So people can optimize their time, to manage their time, to manage their account. So everything is manageable, and that's thank you to the software. There are many software solution which facilitate the banking industry and financial industry. Now the problem is, as we are talking about the new trends of resources, we have issue of migration, but still there are plenty of resources here. First thing, start with education. That's I would like to follow this trend. Who has the thoughts to follow this trend, he will get himself. Doesn't matter that is the ocean. They know how to swim. So the trends has been amazing. The youngers are really talented. I feel I can learn from them. They can teach us where to go because they are more advanced. On the other side, there are a couple of issues that or tasks that needed to be performed, but none of us can do that alone. All together, if we work all together, we can do the things how to improve all those tasks in order that our market is not like before. I have seen that what we implemented in the country, I feel proud that are not implemented still in some EU country. I'm not talking about in the Eastern European country. And I feel proud for that because even from the corporate, keeping a flex, that's in Albania, we implemented very pioneering programs and solution. And that's, should say that's thank you to the team and to the people and all colleagues, I consider the colleagues, the people in the bank, that's we had the common thoughts to do even project that's for many of us looks like a dream, but at the end we did. So, but that it was not done with foreign resources. Everything implementation is done with local people. And that means too much. That we have resources to go forward. And we can do more. And now that we are giving assistance to the other country. So 2 months ago, we got it from Romania to assist them for the same program solution that we implemented here. Okay, there is international solution, but I feel proud that they asked Albanian resources. And we need to keep the trend.
Okay, thank you, Adip, because I kind of I'll tend to interrupt time after time because I see that the time flies, goes very fast. But thank you, Ariane and Esmeralda. Please, your thoughts on the first questions, and let's try to in a way, not to go, to do it fast, please. Okay. Who's taking the floor? Esmeralda, you go first.
Hello, everyone. I'll just take it so I'm not, the last one. I'll leave that to Ariane. I'm gonna add just a few things based on what happened in the last years. And with last years, I'm gonna say in the last 5 years. If we're talking Albania or tech landscape 10 years ago, I was the first generation that changed from everybody's familiar with online exams like TOEFL or SATs. So basically, I was the first generation that changed from TOEFL on paper and TOEFL IBT. So this was Albania 10 years ago. And now, the last 5 years, we changed topics every year. So let's say the hot topics were about upskilling services. Albania was very famous at some point in time for offering what we call labor or for certain jobs. And then our aim was to upskill this sort of labor and start offering services in IT. And suddenly programmers became very famous and started being one of the top jobs required from companies. Then COVID happened, and suddenly the topic of digital nomads, remote work became very popular. So that also was a trend for at least 2 years, where programmers were Superman, in a sense that they were very highly searched and paid. And after that, startups were super trendy the next year. So this is just the last 5 years, with a startup law being put up for consultation and approval, and digital nomads being added to the scene. And then this year, artificial intelligence took the whole topics in the area. And what I'm glad about this is that Albania is keeping up a lot, thanks also to all these actors in the ecosystem, with global topics that are taking the world scene every year. So before ChatGPT, there were a lot of artificial intelligence applications that were ongoing, and only a few people knew about it. And this raised the topics to a higher level. I'm glad that Albania is also entertaining such topics. With every month, events with famous speakers are about artificial intelligence. Why this is important? It is important because it shows that the landscape here is keeping the pace and also working a lot towards deepening the knowledge in the market. Thank you, Ariane. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Esmeralda. Thank you, Britta, and thank you for the organizers for having invited us. Not sure if you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can.
You can hear me well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So on this topic, I mean, without wanting to repeat what the other excellent speakers before me said, it's I think, of course, we are very aware that COVID changed the landscape dramatically, and even those people, even let's say those companies that didn't want to engage or were quite technology averse, started using more and more or consuming more and more tech products. For our let's say industry, it was a major change, something that we never thought we'd do it so fast. But between and I'm going to take this as an example of, let's say, changing of the environment, where in the space of 3-4 months, we went from a fully physical way of delivering programs to an entirely virtual way of delivering programs. And actually, some of those programs are now have remained virtual entirely. Essentially, it's much more effective with the tools and let's say some of the capabilities of these platforms that are growing every year. And we have now some Albanian companies always or maybe looking or producing some of the services or some of the components for these big companies and big multi corporations. But we still, I think, looking ahead, it's a case of doing more, and it's a case of focusing on specific industries rather than just being or focusing on a horizontal and general IT component. I think without having a particular focus, which of course the market needs to signal that it's focusing on specific industries or specific sectors, it's difficult to understand how it will happen, but essentially will provide, as we have seen with other countries, will provide a direction, also provide deep capabilities for those individuals that are involved within the IT ecosystem. It's I'm a big fan of focusing and being specific or industry or focusing on specific industries and verticals, because I think those areas are, or a lot of areas have space to be explored. Even if we say AI or blockchain or crypto, these are areas where I think we're at the beginning of the curve. We're not even past the starting phase yet. So there is lots of components where Albanian companies or Albanian tech sector can get involved. And lastly, as we have seen from a number of let's say reports, we have quite a good ratio of the people that are studying IT or ICT in general compared to a number of general university education students. So as long as that stays there, or maybe it can keep growing a little bit, we can keep contributing and making a difference within this ecosystem.
Okay, Ariane, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for the comments during the first question. Maybe I'll do very quick storytelling about it, since this event is organized by our Croatian counterparts. Mainly, I remember in those years, like 2007, 2008, I was hired as a consultant from one company, big corporation here in Albania, for digital transformation. And I went to visit the counterpart of this company in Croatia. And when I met them, they told me that, hey, it's like we are planning to renew the whole technology, but we have been now in this business for many years. And so the moving from the current technology to the new technology, it's a troublesome, the migration, the new technology, what to take, what to do. And I think that you are lucky, because you're going to start this process from scratch. And sometimes what was at a disadvantage in those years that were not very well developed, it was an advantage in the sense of the decision making and the process. So we had a very fast, accelerated process of getting the technology, getting the right tools, software, training people, and move on. Sometimes in much faster pace than if you inherit like some old technologies that cannot really keep up the pace of the new dynamic changes. And secondly, when I went to CEBIT, we went to present Albania as an IT sector. It was 2012. Almost 60-70% of the people who visited us at that time, they were telling, hey guys, I mean, they didn't even ask a word about technology or IT. They were just saying, we heard that Albania is a great touristic country. So we're not even in any map. We're talking only 10 years ago, we're not even in IT map. And those who all are aware today, not that we are on the maps of the largest corporations of like a big investment in this industry, so there is a radical transformation in thinking, in the way how we embrace technology in our daily business and business life. But could you please, we have one survey, one slide, if you can put it for the moment before we jump to the second question. So if we check if we have any questions from the audience, or I don't see any question from the audience, but may we have a survey, please? you know, the first question of survey. Where I can see it. Yeah, okay. If we, maybe it goes to the audience. I don't know exactly how it works in this case, you know, but let's, in the meantime, let's go to the second question. You know, I know that, I know, okay. So the first quiz questions that we sent to the audience was, how do you describe the current state of tax system in Albania? And I think that something that it is developing with notable progress, something that it is there is much more potential to unlock. Anyway, now we'll jump to the other question, and I know that startups, entrepreneurs, innovation are on the top list, as we have the tech talent, education. You know, in between these two, as the first one, I'll choose the opportunities. What are the most promising opportunities for tech startups and entrepreneurs in Albania right now? I think try to keep short responses. We can start from Arjan, and then Esmeralda, and then Gerti, and then Adrian. Please, quick response.
Thank you, Tane. Good question. And since we work within this ecosystem, we're also integrated more into the regional ecosystem lately. But in Albania, we have steady growth of the ecosystem the last 5 years. Of course, we're starting from quite a low baseline. We have now we have some data, which is very difficult usually within the entrepreneurship ecosystems around the world to get the real data or maybe verifiable data. We have some good cases or some upcoming companies that are just edging beyond that pre-seed stage, further, you know, into growth and validation and then growth. So there is a positive trend where we see the overall environment. One of the things that we haven't done very well is provide maybe quite a diverse ecosystem when it comes to financing these companies or entrepreneurs at very early stages. We're still not there yet. I think we within that frame, and there is some long way to go for us to be able to, let's say, to reach maybe some of the neighboring countries, but also some of the more mature and CE countries that we have seen go into growth and then hyper growth. I'm very big fan of startups, and of course very big fan of entrepreneurs, because they take amazing risks. Those risks here in Albania are a little bit more, let's say, amplified, as I mentioned, by the lack of some opportunities when it comes to funding, but also maybe the technical assistance beyond this validation stage. It's but again, we're learning very fast. Of course, there is a number of let's say initiatives that are being planned for 2024, and I think we're, as I mentioned, this positive trend will continue. Hopefully we will see a few more, let's say, I wouldn't say exit, but I would say investments beyond 5 to 10 million euros in some of the companies within 2024. And I think if we get to this stage within the next year and a half, we will see a lot more companies being, let's say, being encouraged to go through that route and raise money, not just within the country, but also beyond it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Arjan. Esmeralda, please, floor is yours. Esmeralda, unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Tane. I'll start by mentioning a little bit of the general overview of Tirana, mostly as the hub. Protic is also part of the Western Balkan Startup Alliance, so that is the first baseline that things are getting more regional, and that means a bigger market and more opportunities, of course. The other step is that there are more funds dedicated to startups and entrepreneurs. Besides the law, there is a new agency, so there are signs that the will from the government is bigger, including the new pyramid of Tirana. Yesterday's in the Berlin summit, there was the first opening of Tumo Tirana as well. It's one of the projects I used to work for previously. So that's a benchmark and a sort of sign that the government is creating the right opportunities. Of course, it's never perfect, but if there is a will, there is a way. And from that, I'm gonna talk a bit also about the funds that are coming from Digital Europe funds. So there are multiple opening and calls that are show a willingness to support. Of course, where I see challenges, I see also opportunities. So what is the challenge in Albania and countries in the region like Albania is that there is a lot of chance for improvement and creating new startups because a lot of solutions are non-existent. I'll just give an example. If you're living in Milan or in London, you probably have 10 startups that offer a car sharing service or offer food delivery, while in countries like Albania and the region, the competition on certain specific fields is lower. So that's actually a great opportunity for entrepreneurs and for startups. They don't need to invent the wheel. Sharing most basic problems, it's still, you're still a solution finder in the market, and there are plenty of opportunities. And in the beginning, it was said that if there is financing is never, the only problem. If you figured out the rest, financing comes generally if you have a solution. Other things that I think they're hopeful for the future and for the landscape is that there are a few plans and legislation plans about technoparks. And also it was recently approved the technology and economic development zone for Tirana, which means that it's a dedicated area with incentives for taxation about tech companies that can settle in Albania. So these are a few steps around, but of course the market needs a bit more structuring, but there are opportunities arising every year, and that's the main sign for entrepreneurs and startups that this is the right moment to, to create your own companies and follow the path wherever that leads you. Thank you, Tony.
I mean, guys, our main enemy, who is now, what is now
Time.
our main enemy is time. Adi, I have only one quick question for you before I jump to Gerti, who will speak a little bit more about this. You as a company or as a corporate, are you planning to invest into startups or into creating some kind of innovation corner within your company that can support the startup and innovation ecosystem? Yes, no, quick, 30 seconds.
Yes, we are doing that, and so this is a trend, but we connect, that is related with the business thought. My advice to all the startup is that to think for beside the beauty of product that they are creating, but to think a little bit more about how will be the business. So time to time, I advise them that, please guys, you need to see the map of the business. You don't need 100% of the market. You should be very happy 5%, 10%, and then the business is going to grow. So that's in our side, company has created 2 or 3 corners for developing things, even collaborating with the startup companies. So I hope that I will shortly.
Yes, but we didn't get it if you're going to put money into startups or not. Yes, thank you.
Without money, you can do nothing. Without money, you can do nothing.
Okay, thank you. Gerti, you are the platform leader of Albania Tech. Your thoughts, please, on this startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Thank you about touching this subject, because I really enjoy it like Aryan. We are really involved and engaged with the startup ecosystem. It is connected to tech as always, because even the term startups, according to me, is related to technology, because you can start a business, start a venture, but you can do hyper growth only due to the technology. Regarding the scene, I'm not going to add too much because Ariane said his part. Also, Esmeralda, she talked about the government initiatives. If I could do like a framework, I can say that the ecosystem now it's in a good stage because it's like it is created. It is we have created a platform in order to identify the startups, to put them in one place. We have now, let's say, a solid ecosystem because it's not just startups, it's not just ideas, it's not just separated or sporadic events. It is everything is happening and under, let's say, an umbrella because everybody knows each other. They know what are the events, what are the programs, when are the times that they are happening, what type of startups or what type of maturity stage of startups you aim with your interventions, because there are a lot of programs that support different startups in different maturity stages. But I'm glad to say that, as Ariane mentioned, it's not that just the programs that support the early stage, but now there are also other programs that are supporting startups to a maturity stage, to the growth stage, which is good because we see that there is stability, there is continuity. There are not just ideas that come and go, but there are also ideas that stand the market, become into businesses and grow. And this is good because with their, let's say, example, they motivate other ideas to, and it operates like a circle in order so others can start their own ideas, put them into practice, put them into different programs to grow, to nurture, and to find their way to growth and to become a certain business. But the missing part, as you touched on, is the funding. Of course, there are, let's say, grants or different initiatives from donors or initiatives from the government with the startup law, because they have allocated 10 million euro in 4 years to be disbursed in order to support the startups and to support the ecosystem facilitators. But let's say this is not just the right approach, because you can support via grants, but in order to support the entire ecosystem, it's good to have it's the missing part of the venture funds, or let's say angel networks that operate as a so that can let's say give hyper growth to new ideas. What I would mention, and I would add as let's say as a finish to my talk, is that we have to have also more examples and more cooperation within the region, because it's good to understand the region, because the region is bigger than we as country are. So it would be very nice to understand what is going on in other countries of the region, to see what are the solutions, how they are doing, to get from each other, and maybe to operate the region as a market as a whole.
Gerdi, thank you. And we could go on and on and on and on. I never thought that these 40 minutes will go so fast.
We'll try to rush.
I think that,
I don't know what to do.
I think that we were supposed to talk with a topic that was dealing with tech talents. What is the situation of tech talents in Albania, since we are part of virtual tech job fair? I can say only one sentence. There is even in Albania, like in every other country, there is a lack of tech experts, of tech talents in the market. The universities, formal and non-formal entities, educational entities are really addressing this issue. But the market is considering even hiring the people and inviting internationals from Bangladesh, India, China, Turkey, and many other countries who can really fill up the absences within the organization. The number of unfilled positions is really very, very high, not mentioning here that even countries like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Italy, and Greece are coming and are really somehow are taking these talents from the market. Now, before closing, and I'm really sorry that we are closing, because at 4:30 there is a new session. I have one quick question for you guys. How would you personally describe the current state of tech ecosystem in Albania as a thriving and rapidly growing, developing with notable progress, stable but not experiencing significant growth, nascent, just, with much potential to unlock? Which one would you choose? Let's go first. Aryan. The first, the second, third, the fourth.
I would say the second, but also that links to the fourth comes into play. So the second, probably most.
Second
growth.
dominant. Adrian?
The second for me as well.
Okay. And Gertie?
I don't remember what were the numbers, but definitely growing.
Growing. Okay, I
Growing
think
fast,
thriving and rapidly growing is the first. Esmeralda?
Well, all of the above.
Okay, with this.
It's hard, Tony, to rate them. Tony, is very hard to rate them.
Yes, I
It's
know.
very
I know.
good.
It's a little bit of everything,
But-
but thank you, guys.
One thing, Tony, I have a question to all of us.
No,
Does
yes,
university has a program when they are going to exhibition to have their own project? How
Yes, we'll respond to your questions in the next panel, my friend, because
Okay, thank you very much.
we ran out of time. Thank you very much. Thank you
Okay.
to organize. Thank you for the panel. Thank you. And
Thank you, Gertie. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you,
thank you,
Esmeralda.
Ingo, for the
Thank you.
attendance.
Thank you.
If they have questions, please
Putting us
send it.
together.
We'll even reply to it via email. Thank you.